Hey guys, welcome back to DMAC Customs YouTube channel. Back on the Area 51 project. Gonna see if I can make some 4-door 51 Chevy rear seats fit a 2-door fleetline 51. Yeah, so don't know if it's gonna work, but let's get at it. And you get that big cloud of dust. Just make sure you inhale it, just so you kind of breathing in the parts. Maybe water. Oh, would you stop it? Shh. I've welded that on upside down. Look at that, what a dipstick. Small fire in the rubbish bin, but that's nothing to worry about. My pieces all cut to make my building on the floor. Oh, fixed. Ui. Alrighty, if you've been following along with this little project behind me here, you may have noticed there's never been a back seat in the old Area 51. Got 65 Thunderbird, I think they're 65 or 66. I can't quite remember now actually, I think. But yeah, if you know, let me know. This is have a quick look, that's what they look like from the back. That one's held on with one bolt at the moment. But yeah, I haven't got a back seat. Well, I have, but it's not the right back seat yet. When I bought this car, it came with seats just laying in it, and there was a bench seat and stuff in it, but they were for a 4-door sort of thing. And I sold off the front bench seat because it didn't flip forward and things like that. It wasn't a 2-door bench seat, so otherwise I would have kept it, and then I tracked down or fluked upon these Thunderbird seats, those ones. But I still have the back seat for the, I'm thinking it's for a 4-door in it, but it doesn't quite fit in the 51, the fleetline. So I've been trying to sell it, and nobody wants to buy it. So I'm gonna chop it up and see if I can make it work for my application and see how we go. I was thinking of like trying to buy something else, find something that would be really cool to get Thunderbird rear seats as well, with that wraparound thing. I think they're awesome, but people parting out 65 and 66 Thunderbirds here in New Zealand is pretty rare, and usually those things are already gone or absolutely toast by the time they get into that getting sold off and stuff. So I have over here, buried in amongst all of this, the bottom and the back of the 4-door seats. Yeah, bottom and the back 4-door seats. And the problem with those is the bottom, the base is a little bit high, so I need to kind of like bring it down a bit, and the back is a bit wide and a bit high, so I need to do something with that too. So there you have it. Before I do anything though, I'm gonna dig them out, and I'm gonna remove all the upholstery off them, so I'm just working with the frames. That way I can see through it and see what I've got to modify. So hopefully I can make something cool out of this. Never done it before, as with most of the things on this project. I haven't done them before. Never done anything to do with upholstery. Not that I'm upholstering them at this point anyway, I just want to modify the frames and the springs and stuff to see if I can make it work. Worst case scenario, they just go to the scrap because no one wanted them anyway. Okay, so I'll dig these out and then we'll have a look. got those out. It wasn't that hard, but they're out now anyway. So first up, I guess, let's have a look over them and that. But I just noticed this here. It's got an old Turnstead Division General Motors Columbus plant. How's that? If anyone knows anything more about what that means, let us know down in the comments. Back 69, obviously maybe part number or something like that. But that looks like an original, like, little build tag. I don't think this is the original upholstery, maybe, on these seats, but I'm going to take it all off anyway. I'll keep it to kind of act as somewhat of a template, maybe, just in case, but I won't sort of bin all of it yet. I'll just sort of box it up or fold it up or hoard it as you do. So first step, I'm going to have to cut like 50 gazillion hog rings to be able to access these frames properly, so I'll get that done and then we'll check back in. As expected, it wasn't the original upholstery, but this looks like it might have been the original upholstery. Usual kind of rotted away at the top there. The old, probably from the sun, but this piece has been put on when they did that vinyl across the top. A few old watermarks and stuff, and lots of dog hair, I think. So whoever had this had a dog. Good on them. Yeah, interesting. Thought I'd just show you that. That's coming off too. Now when you're pulling apart old upholstery like this from an old car and you get that big cloud of dust, just make sure you inhale it, just so you kind of breathing in the past. If we don't know our past, how can we know our future? How's that for wisdom? Don't wear gloves or a mask. Live it, breathe it, inhale it. Probably should wear a mask, but I can feel the sneezes starting to grow already actually from this. Oh, look, also it's another little build tag. There's your matching pair, so it must be the part number, eh? You reckon? Cushion 69, 1 and 2, and then that number from General Motors Columbus plant. I think old Vince, who worked at the Columbus plant, was pretty heavy on the old, what are these things called again? These things. Those little ball rings. Ball rings. Man, there's like a million ball rings in these seats. Just the factory ones, let alone the ones that have been put on with this upholstery, this brown, green vinyl. Anyway, carry on. Man, these springs certainly have some punch to them, eh? They're full on, But yeah, that's one layer off. Oh, there's actual foam under there. It's a little kind of more like hessian than the other stuff. It looks like it was possibly a matching set from the same thing, from the same factory. Plenty of dog hair. Maybe water. But yeah, next layer. It's like peeling an onion with ball ring clips. Ah, 15 million hole rings later and one wound. I think something jumped out and bit me and it ran off. It's under there now. But yeah, that's them. Oh, there's still more hole rings on here. God, that's them all stripped back. Well, upholstery taken off. I'm going to give them a bit of a clean up just to make them a slightly more pleasant to work on and see how it goes. Okay, check it out. This is what we've got to work with for the back part of the seat. So let's have a look. As you can see, she's tied across the top here, and she's a bit bent here because I think I actually did try to get this in here once before, and I've cut one of these to try and squeeze it in just to see if we'd get close, but it has kind of helped show me where we need to get close. This is a bit out down this side here, sort of thing, this bar. That's right, I can straighten that back up. But what's kind of important to me is this bit that goes around the wheel tubs on both sides. Looks like it's gonna actually fit, but she's too tall because of when I lowered, well, when I chopped the roof, the parcel tray came down 3 or 4 inches as well as everything else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have a crack at cutting this top section off and bringing it down maybe 3 inches, not quite to the flush with the parcel tray sort of thing. I'll bring it up, leave it up a little bit higher, and then probably like make a parcel tray to suit sort of thing. And probably the other most obvious area here is I've made more of a tunnel here now for the old drive shaft, so might have to do something down the back there just to clearance that, so that when it goes right back it can sit right back into there. So that's where we're at the moment, but to kind of get it to somewhat fit, I might need to cut these top corners, get it to go back a bit further so I can see how that's all going to work down here with these other bits and these other modifications that I've made for all the suspension and all that kind of stuff through the floor. I'm going to have to formulate a little bit of a plan, I reckon. Might get my white pen and make some marks and then pull it all out, cut it up and see what we can do. Exciting times in the old Area 51. I may have a plan for a back seat, sort of. Okay, so I thought I'd get all scientific and do some measuring with a tape measure. These little tabs here, these 3 things here, fit into these little hooks that hook onto the parcel tray. Now I left those on because I didn't really know what they were, but that's a good thing. So I'm going to chop 4 inches out of the height of this, and that'll leave about 1 inch above where the parcel tray sits now. So it'll still be a fairly low back on these seats. Or maybe I should just do 3 and extend that little thing that hooks into the cradle. That might be a better plan. 3 inches, and then that'll leave 2 hanging above there. Still be a fairly low back seat, but should be right. I'm not sitting in the back. And then I'm going to measure across the parcel tray to give me my width, how much I need to cut out of the sides. And then that is hopefully kind of the worst of it for this part of the old seat. So let's have a look, let's get into it. In my plan that I just outlined in the back of the car, I forgot all about the front part of the seat. I've got a plan for the back bars and stuff, but I kind of forgot all about this area. So I think I've got a plan for that now, but it's going to involve unstitching these crimp things, and so I can move that top spring down a couple of rows. So this is going to take a little while, so we'll be back. Update. Took a bunch of springs out, like these. That was fun. They're all held in with these weird little clips, which I ended up just grinding them and, well, with the flapper disc and just getting them down to thin and then prying them all apart, and that was, it is what it is. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but we got there in the end. So now I'm kind of just figuring out where I'm going to be cutting all of this and how it's all going to go back together. Yeah, so running out of day now, so I won't do that tonight, but I kind of got a bit of a plan because these springs are going to go back in. I haven't got any little metal clips in that, but I have got a ball ring thing, like hog ring, that's what they call that, hog ring thing, coming with a whole bunch of hog rings. So hopefully I'll learn how to do some hog ringing on this stuff. So yeah, I don't know, I'll show you what I've got planned. So see where these white marks are, that's where I'm going to cut the back frame, and I'm just going to and I have to cut all the springs as well on the back because they're going to get shortened. From this bit here will go to about here, I think, around abouts. I'm going to cut all of this off basically, so that black mark there will come up to the cut mark sort of thing. So I'm going to cut that much out of the back essentially, but I'm not going to cut these pieces completely and then butt weld them. I'm just going to overlap them and put a few stitches down the sides. It won't be too pretty, but it'll hold, you know, because it's going to be, it's the back of the seat, so it won't be too visible sort of thing. And then I'll give them all a bit of shoot a bit of black paint and stuff over them, tidy it all up. I'm going to take an inch out here, or 25mm for the metric speakers and an inch for the imperial speakers. So I'm going to take an inch out of here and bring that in. Down here's good, up here is all, this is all bent, it's been bashed around. This one's not quite as bent, so when I cut it I'm going to have to straighten these up and realign all this stuff better. So I've got to take an inch out of here and here, and this spring might not even end up going back in, I don't know, it might have to, the corner might get a bit squishy. And then round the front, much the same, got to take, I'm not sure how much yet, whether it's going to be the full 4 inches or maybe just 3 out of the front, and move this bar here down, and then I'm going to reinstall all of these into the top to hold it out. Makes sense? Not today, maybe tomorrow after work. Got a plan, so hopefully it works. Worst case scenario, it's just a few blisters and some blood and some more shit to go to the tip, the rubbish dump, scrap man, whatever. Anyway, till tomorrow. Okay, so next day after work, just putting a new blade on the old grinder. Gonna cut this up, see how much I can shorten it and stuff like that. Start with cutting these side bits off because I am. Okay, so cut. No going back now. So I was thinking of a 4-inch cut, kind of matches everything that moved in the back. Then I was thinking a 3-inch just to bring the seat back height up a little bit. But then these little doodads here won't land in their little keeper socket things in the same way that they originally did, which is not the end of the world, because if I can do a 3-inch, then I can get the seat back height just a little bit higher, just for aesthetics more than anything. And I may just extend these little pieces somehow, just so they sit in the little keeper thing. So I might take this off, give it a bit of a clean up so I can got some cleaner steel to weld to, maybe cut those little tabby things off, and take it back into place and see how it looks. Yeah? Alrighty, ding. First draft. It's not still sitting up too high in a few places, obviously, and it's all crooked and wonky. But I've found another couple of areas that I'm going to have to take a little bit of width out of. I'm going to have to slice right there, that bar there, so I can curve that in a bit more. Should possibly do a bit on that as well. I thought that area was going to fit. Oh, would you stop it? Shh. I thought that area was going to fit on my first kind of placement, but it's not. I've got to do something here and here, or back there, to radius this bar. Now this is probably some kind of fancy pants spring steel, so it's probably not going to take to me welding a piece in there and putting a curve in to get it to drop down very well, but I'm going to try it anyway. Yeah, so take a couple of bits out of here and here, take that lump out down the bottom, and that should get it to go back and drop down all properly, and then I can see whether I'm happy with the height on the actual back part. This bar, the bar across the back there. It's still at the moment it looks a bit high, but it's kind of almost right at that end, but it's obviously not back far enough, so it kind of almost could come down another inch. Grab a pen, put some marks on these side bars and bits down the bottom there where I've got to cut some stuff out and weld some stuff in. Yep. Okay, does that all make sense? Hopefully it does, but still optimistic that this might work if I can get all the spring parts to line up. Man, I burnt my thumb real good. It's got a dent in it. Okay, welcome back. Next day. Well, if you're still watching this, you haven't gone anywhere. It was me. I went to work and I did some other stuff, but got all these rebars all welded back together, and I've welded that on upside down. Look at that, what a dipstick. What was I thinking? I welded on a relief thing there for the tunnel, and I just noticed I welded it on upside down. How did I do that? That's right, I put it down on the floor to do it. Anyway, I've got to cut that off and weld that on the right way round. But I've welded up all the back bars and stuff now, just lapped them and welded them. I didn't butt weld them, I need to kind of keep some sort of strength in them. Give them a little bit of a clean up with the old flat disc later on. Just looking at these side top bits that I've cut off, I've just got to reattach them and that piece there that I welded on upside down. That's where we're at, so I reckon this is all gonna workish. I might need to put some little keepers back in on the inside there for these little loops to kind of lock into when you're putting the seat in place. And I've got to put some bars across here. Actually, I had marks on there, but they're probably gone now that I've welded it all in there. But yeah, to keep it catch. I'll show you when I do it anyway. But anyway, I've got to cut that off and weld these on.
Retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. They for their disease. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
Okay, that's all the bits welded on the frame and stuff. Heaps of little offcuts all over the ground and keep standing on them. Had a small fire in the rubbish bin, but that's nothing to worry about, I think. So I'm just clipping all the springs back in before I shorten them. I can't do these top ones yet because I haven't got my little hog ring doodad yet. That's in the post as we speak. Yeah, so just got to get these all clipped up and might give it another trial fit and see where we're at, and hopefully we're good to go. If there's anyone out there who knows anything about upholstery, you're probably going to just flame me hard out in the comments maybe, as this is not how you do seat frames, but I've never done this before, so I'm just making this up as I go along, just for a change. No, something like that, and then I've got to figure out where all these things go. Again. I really should have taken some photos before I started this. I don't know, I'll figure it out, worry about it when I get the hard ends. Or should I go to that one? I don't know, I'll put it in and we'll have a look. Okay, check this out. I'll just get some light going on in there. Here we go, look. It actually fits now, kind of. Still obviously needs some more springs put back on and some proper dialing in and stuff like that. And I've got to put some little kind of hooks down there to get it to, you know, so when you put it in you can kind of like lock it into those and then push it back and stuff like that. So I'm going to put a bar across to catch these little thingy bobs. And they're still sitting a bit. I don't know whether these things here are in the same place on both sides or what. Might not even need those if I put little keepers in there and let it drop down into those little cradle saddle things in the on the back of the parcel tray. But yeah, plenty of clearance down the side for upholstery and stuff like that. I hope. I have no idea really, because as I said, never done this before. Don't really know jack shit about upholstery, other than use sewing machines and leather and vinyl and foam and all that kind of crap. Never messed with springs and stuff like this before, but it's worth a go and I'm going to have some success. And I've left it higher. I did talk about cutting it down further, but I decided that once you get the base in, there won't be much seat back if I cut it down further. So I left it up a bit more proud, and I'll build an insert for the parcel tray itself, if you get what I'm saying. So that might get built up, or we might even just leave a little kind of step back there. I don't know yet. Cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, on the whole, I think this is going to work somewhat. So just going to mark out where I've got to put those bars and make some little doodads for down the bottom there. And hopefully my hog ring thing will arrive tomorrow on the courier, and then I can put all those other top springs and stuff back in and reconnect all of this. Going to connect them to that third rung down, fourth rung, third down into there, so the top of the seat back is kind of horizontal. You reckon? I reckon. So far so good. And then I just got to basically find out what I need to do to modify the seat base to get it to do everything that I want it to do and fit in, and kind of I want to take some height out of it because it sits way up too high at the moment. So hopefully we'll be able to do what we need to do to that to make it fit in this car with a lower roof. Choice, that's enough for tonight. Till tomorrow, or whenever I get back out here onto this. Well guys, next day, just got to weld on some bars to hook onto those little hooky things in there, and then I don't know what I'm going to do next, because my hog ring pliers and hog ring, I don't know what they're called. I have to look up the Trade Me listing again. They didn't arrive anyway, so according to the track and trace, they've been picked up, but that's it. And that was like 3 or 4 days ago now, so hopefully they're not one of those lost in the post kind of things, and then I have to deal with the seller and all that kind of stuff again, but we'll find out, no doubt, at some point. So yeah, I've got to weld these little suckers on. I might actually just zip tie the springs and that into place and trim back all the overhang, because it's a real mission moving this thing around with them all flapping around wanting to get tangled up in me and stuff like that. So at least I can kind of mock it all up with zip ties before I hog ring it, yeah? Bull ring. Hog rings, yeah, I think. Yeah, so I'll quickly weld these on and maybe try and figure out these springs. I really wish I'd made some more notes about how they came out before I have to put them back in. Okay, so I'll weld these on, be back. Okay, right, let's have a look. So I've just buzzed on these bars that'll lock into those little hook things on the back of the parcel tray over there. So I'm going to give these all a bit of a bend, like this one, and then I can trim off the excess on here, and hopefully these springs will stay hooked on for the life of this seat. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then we'll figure out how to get springs back into place. Yeah? Okay, so let's do that. Got it. Right, I'm just bending these over a bit just so like if it does compress, these don't stick in here, you know, even in the back seat. Back seat education, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so I always seem to say, okay, so I can't remember whether this is right or not. It feels alright, but so once I get my hog ring things, I can hog ring these and do a couple of double ups here and there and make it all nice and tight, but seems to be workable, maybe. Probably could just zip tie the whole thing, probably as strong as the old hog rings, but they might get fatigued and stuff over time. Oh, look, there's an uncrimped one of those. That's what they look like when they haven't been crimped. Might just leave it there. Yeah, so I'll shoot ahead. I won't film all zip tying all this up. I'll jump ahead, get all these springs in, see what happens. Got all these zip tied in for now. I think that's alright. I won't trim all these until I've actually done the hog ring, bull ring, plier thing. Hey, there's a poem across these, and like clip them all in properly. Then I'll trim these and try and bend down the ends so they don't stick out through the upholstery and stuff. And yeah, chuck a few more clips on down here, try and kind of secure it all a bit nicer. Yeah, so that's that part done. The lumbar support seems to be pretty good. It seems a little soft up the top here, but I can't remember what it was like before. I don't really care. So it'll be alright, trust me. Well, don't trust me, don't. Like, I'm not an upholsterer, I know nothing about this. I'm just having a crack at it for the first time ever in my life. And this isn't even upholstery, this is just messing around with the wire frame that goes underneath the upholstery. So hoping it'll be alright. Worst case scenario, I have to get some other seat frames. These don't really owe me anything. Nobody wanted them, so I'm cutting them up and trying to make my own just for a change. It seems to be how, well, it's how I do things around here. I cut things up and make it kind of work. Sometimes with some success, other times not so much. But this is my attempt at this anyway. So I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. I can't be bothered with this. This is tearing my hands up, all these little bits of sharp metal and things like that. Hopefully my little hog ringy things arrive tomorrow, maybe. And then we can do some stuff on the back seat, the seat base. And I've got to make up some little keeper things and sort out these little hooks on the side. One's down on the wheel tub there, and I've got to see where those little white pen marks are. That's where I've got to make something to match up to these doodads. Okay, cool. Right, battery's going flat, better put it on charge. Till tomorrow. Hey guys, right, next day, my hog ring plier things came. See? Hog rings, oh they're the hog rings. And these are the pliers. Oh, so I'm assuming they go in there and you go click click. I'm going to give them a try. Alrighty, so I'm thinking that they just kind of behave a bit like a staple gun, and you do something like that, put them in there, do the thing and give them a squeeze, I guess. Is there a spring? Seems to be. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, so that didn't work. So, well, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so they must just go in like that. You wiggle this thing. Oh, like that. There we go. That might be what I'm trying to achieve. Okay, we'll give another shot. Ran out. Oh, well, they don't go as tight as I would have thought, but with a bit of doing things the hard way, I can maybe give them a bit of a squeeze up and kind of maybe tighten them a bit. Interesting. Oh well, I'll carry on. That might be alright. I might leave these zip ties on here as well, just for good measure, but I should be able to kind of get these tight enough. It's possibly why, from the factory, they use the other sort of clip thingy bobs, which I haven't got. You can probably get them, but it's probably a whole other tool that you need to make that work, and yeah, I don't know where you get that shit from. I just found these on the line, and it seemed to work, well, for the whole grain side of things anyways. So I'll try some of these ones that are in this box. Those ones that kind of, the test ones, they look like they're aluminium actually. I wonder if these are steel. Oh, these are gold ones. I wonder what those ones are then. I wonder if they, I don't know, I'll give them a try. If I can figure out how to get this open now. How do you do this? Oh, there we go. So, child-proof apparatus. Interesting. Oh well, I'll carry on. That might be alright. I might leave these zip ties on here as well, just for good measure, but I should be able to kind of get these tight enough. It's possibly why, from the factory, they use the other sort of clip thingy bobs, which I haven't got. You can probably get them, but it's probably a whole other tool that you need to make that work, and I just found these on the line, and it seemed to work, well, for the whole grain side of things anyways. So I'll try some of these ones that are in this box. Those ones that kind of, the test ones, they look like they're aluminium actually. I wonder if these are steel. Oh, these are gold ones. I wonder what those ones are then. I wonder if they, I don't know, I'll give them a try. If I can figure out how to get this open now. How do you do this? Oh, there we go. So, child-proof apparatus. No, it's actually really easy when you figure it out. Okay, so they don't look any different, but Cool, so I'll carry on, get all this all hog ringed up, and yeah, see where we go from there. Right, so I'm just going along clipping all these, and I'm just doubling up on this conveniently placed this thing so I can kind of get it fixed good. I've determined, oh, that's not tight, through this little exercise that hog rings are the wrong tool for attaching these, or the wrong thing. It should be something more like that. It should be stronger, I reckon. So I've doubled up, oh, I missed a zip tie, doubled up on the zip ties holding this and hog rings, but these are quite soft, so possibly if I got like harder ones, I don't know, harder zip hog ring things. I've still got to bend all these back over this way now as well, so that's after I finish doing this, that's what I've got to figure out how to do. I've done one over here, that one, so I've bent that one, but yeah. Okay, so I'm just working my way along, bending all these back just so they don't stick through the upholstery once it does get upholstered, and devised a fairly simple solution. Got one of these things, which is, I don't know what they're called, but they're for holding like little screwdriver bits and things like that, and I've just been going like this because this is like scientifically proven to be the best way to do this. You gotta whack that zip tie over, grab a hold of that like that, and then just wear gloves because these things will rip your hands to shreds, and then just bending them back like that. Just see, easy as, with a little bit of effort. And if I do get some proper clips, they should still fit on most of these maybe. So yeah, just about finished. Alrighty, so next up I've got to make some little keeper tab things for the bottom of the seat frame. So let's get into the little scrap metal drawer. Whoa, that's out of it. And see what I can find. Maybe something like that, a little bit of 2mm might be useful. Not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but maybe I should make up a little plan before I go looking for bits of metal. So I'll make something somewhat nice. Ooh, plan. Anyway, big noise. I'll make a bit of a plan, I think. Maybe get a bit of cardboard and make some cardboard things. Do the centre one first. This one will be pretty straightforward. Just going to do a little thing, something like that. Might actually make it a little bit shallower. Maybe about 1/2 inch or something. That'll allow for a bit of adjustment, and like body deadener, when that gets all sprayed around in here it'll fill it out somewhat, but so that'll sort of just be a little doodad like that. Plug weld that on place. So I'll put a couple of plug welds in there, maybe around the corners, maybe make that 10mm. So I'll measure this up nicer when I go to cut it out a bit of steel. And over here, this is where it gets tricky because it's right on this kind of humpy bumpy, but I could just go do something like that, and then maybe there. It's just going to go like that, I reckon. About there. Have to make two of those opposite each other. Weld them with a couple of little plug welds, like that. Maybe cut it down. That there, nice and accurate. And we'll just go like that. And then that little bit will slide in behind there and just stop it rattling forward and stuff. Yep, okay. Am I overthinking it? Does it need to just be a little pin or something? Going like that. Nah, I'll make these. Yeah. Okay, so SD card's nearly full on this camera. There's my pieces all cut to make my, they're all on the floor to make my parts, my little clippy things. I just got to fold them now. I'm just going to fold them in the vise with a hammer. So let's do it. You don't have to have fancy press brake like I've got over here. See? Yeah. You know, like some of us have got all the tools, but you don't have to have that. Trust me, you can do it with a vise and a hammer. Cheap hammer at that. Now I'm going to cock this up because I said that. Which way does it go? That way. Close enough, it's good enough in this instance. Now I've got to fold this way. I'm going to fold it that way. No? Where does it go? Here's my thing. Fold it that way and then fold it back that way. Yeah. Now I've got to fold it back that way, which is going to be the tricky part in the vise. Probably in general, but give it a shot. I don't quite know how I'm going to do it. just needs a little trimmage after folding it. It's kind of looking a little bit crooked, but just a little trimmage. Oh, look at that. Looks like it was done with lasers and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to squirt a little bit of weld through etch on the back of those, weld through primer on the back of those, that gold stuff. Leave them to dry and I'll weld them on later on. Okay, we're back in the paint booth, already set up, ready to go. Okay, so next day, got on my little clip thing. I don't know what you call them, my little retainer, seat retainery things that I made yesterday. That's going to go over that side. That one will be over this side. So I just got to mark these all proper like, so then I can get the seat frame back out again because it's sitting in place now. I wanted to put it in place so I knew where to put these more accurately. And yeah, so I just got to mark these proper like, and then I can grind off a little bit for my plug welds on the sheet steel there, and weld these little suckers in, make sure the seat's all centered up and where it's supposed to be, and then yeah, do that. Alright, see if we can get this bloody pen working. Plan is just really to have that sit there. Why doesn't it want to go all the way back? The other side does, but right, that's better. Do I really want it to go all the way back? Probably do, eh? Alrighty, check it out. So that was my plan all along, was just little keepers to hold that in place. Got these top ones up here That one only just grabs, but I might give it a bit of a wallop up there with a hammer, but I don't suppose it matters too much. I might just, yeah, maybe hammer that middle one back in a little bit. That's alright. You just don't really want it sort of squeaking and carrying on when you're scooting on down the road. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Okay, so next up, I mean, I'm pretty. Yeah, maybe I'll just tighten those just a little bit when we do the fit up and stuff. Knock that one up like slightly higher over the other side. It seems to be hanging down a little bit lower. That one over there, the little loop hook thing. Could have welded those bars on a little bit lower, but doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. Hopefully much. Nothing, a bit of rubber or something won't jam in there or stop it squeaking. But next up, I've got to figure out, see if I can make this base work. I know there's a couple of bits I'm going to have to modify in around this tunnel and around the edges, so might just get straight to cutting those edge bits off, get them out of the way, and I know what I've got to do with those, and then figure out how much I've got to modify the seat frame for the tunnel. Now the problem is still that the seat frame is going to be real high, so once I get it in there laying all flat, I'll get a better idea of how much too high it is, and then I'm going to see whether I can make it lower. Yeah, following along? Cool. Okay, let's have a look at that. And then I've got to weld it, you know, do some grinding and clean up some of my scabby welds on this back frame now that I know that it might actually work. Hopefully. It's a bit off on this side actually, but it'll be alright. Let's chuck some upholstery on it, it'll be all goods. Oh man, that's the mission, getting in and out of this thing. It's gonna suck being a passenger in this car, but not my problem. Okay, disregard that bit I just said about cutting those side bits first. I kind of started second guessing myself and thought I'd better try and sit this thing in place before I cut those. So I might not need to, but I probably will. But anyway, these bits down here that I'm talking about cut. Oh, that fell off. Bit of spring. And it's in the middle. These two bars here I'm going to have to cut and do something with, bring them up higher and such likeness stuff. Yeah. So what I've got to calculate is where that bar is going to end up sitting. About there, I reckon, once it lays down. And that one's going to be about there. And then how high up does it have to go, and how much is it going to interfere with that spring bar across there? Probably heaps. Another little thought I did have, if the spring seat ends up still being way too high to have in here, I could just get rid of all the springs and just use the base frame and do a foam base, maybe. Again, I've never done upholstery before, and I've just looked at some pictures on Instagram and stuff, which reminds me, there's a DMAC Customs Instagram page. If you're on Instagram, just go and check that out. Links in the channel description thing. I think I put it in there anyway. If not, just search up DMAC Customs and you'll find it, and go and give us a follow. I don't really know why, I just put some pictures of this thing on here. So anyway, so I gotta do some figuring, see what I've got to cut out of this base frame to make this next thing work. And I've just about out of 1/4 inch round bar, so I haven't really got much left. I do have some 1/2 inch square bar which I could maybe use to support this thing up a little bit, maybe, you reckon? I don't know. Might have to. If I cut those two bars in the middle there, these bits here are going to be all flapping around in the breeze. Got an idea, I have to... Is that going to clear if I cut those? Now I'm worried about this bit here hitting there and on the sides. It's highly likely it could, so I may have to relieve some of that material as well, eh? How am I going to find that out? Measuring, tape measure. Okay, get this thing. Okay, so we've got, maybe, if I need to make a loop-de-loop, do that one about 90, and that one maybe 110, clearance from the bottom, and sorry about the sideways cameraing, but must do's sometimes. Oh, I'm exhausted. Move the paint booth somewhere else. Right, so over here. So I won't cut these sides off just yet. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to, but what I've got to do, as I said, I've got to make a new one of those and a new one of those. Got to make a new one of those and a new one of those, and then maybe something of those in there. Maybe, don't know. We might be alright on this back bar, but we might not. What are those two? Are they sit in that little groove? Okay, we could be in for more of a shit fight than I thought once we get this sitting down low with all the floor modifications I've done. Well, there's not that many, but there's just enough to get in the way of everything. So I'll start with making up a loop for this, and I can cut that out, weld a new one in, but I still think this is gonna, that end of that spring is gonna interfere with that tunnel. I could cut that spring. No, I can't. What is it? Could whack it over with the hammer. Try. Oh, fixed. Ooh, maybe just knock that down or whack that over with. Some awkward hammering, but that worked. Right, I've got to make a U shape to do this. Get this out of the way. Okay, so this is why you never throw anything out. I found this piece of I don't know what it is, 3/8 or something, 8mm round bar in my little drawer of goodies, and now this was a part of the old handbrake mechanism on the bomb truck. So I've already put a curve in it. It wasn't like that, like a hard plan is to weld that in there and cut that piece there out and do it again at that end. Now, imagining if this is sitting on the floor, so that's where I've kind of got to get my height from for there. So I'll do some guesstimating. Don't mind if it sits a little bit higher-ish, maybe. It's been that my measuring wasn't wickedly accurate in the first place, so about there. Cut that about there and then weld that flush, and that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm curiously low on welding shielding gas again, so I'm probably gonna maybe just get these done, and that might be about it for this project as far as welding goes. But hopefully that is it as far as welding goes. I might be got a little bit of argon in the TIG, but I think that's pretty much empty as well, so I need to go and drop these tanks off and get them filled up, but can't do my CO2 argon on the weekends because that place is closed on the weekends, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, so I'll cut these, tack this, and then I might cut that one out and fit that one in there, but I want to have a strong bar in there to hold this seat frame together while I do the back one. Get the picture? Cool. Okay, yeah, gonna trim that side bit and down in here, these bits here are now hitting the tunnel. I think if I can relieve those a little bit. Oh, what's happening over here? A little divot thing on the bar there wants to sit where I've made the risers for the 4-link, of course. What do I do about that? Do I just cut them off? And that would put me, or could I twist them round? Is that whole back bar, what is that for? Just strength. Okay, a few more issues. Not sure what I'm going to do about them yet. Figure something out. Figure it out. It's actually not too bad. I thought it might need to be lowered a little bit more. Oh, it could be a problem, but do some slouching in the. Oh, I don't want to get violated by a stray spring. So, alright, okay. More cutting. Okay, update. Made some more cuts and did some more cutting. Cut away this stuff here so that'll sit down lower eventually. Just notice that locator peg thing is all bent up so it won't sort of locate properly. The biggest thing that's hanging me up now is these two springs here. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about those yet. I reckon once I can get those to out of the way, it should almost lay flat except for these two parts of the frame here and that bar there. Now I could potentially just cut those off and weld them back on further down or somewhere just for the support, the brace sort of thing, or bend them. Bending them might be the way to go, considering I'm just about out of gas and I've got to conserve that for absolutely necessary. So I might try bending them first and figure out what to do with the springs. Yeah, so pull it back out again and see if I can suss out those two springs, what to do with that. Maybe I'll unpick those clips, bend that bar. That's not going to help. It's going to put too much tension and it's going to make those middle springs kick up maybe. If I just cut it, those springs will go and sag. I don't know. I'll figure it out, hopefully. I'm relocating this bar, which was down here, going across these springs to up the top here, which will be tucked under the back of the seat a little bit. And my justification for it is that little bar comes through there on the top of the seat, so surely I can put one through here. And I had to unpick these clips by hand-ish with screwdrivers and pliers and stuff, and now I'm just fitting them back by hand-ish with needle nose or long nose pliers, as we tend to call them here. There's probably a special tool for this, but I haven't got it, so too bad. This seems to be working. I'm just doing these outside four, and then I'm going to pinch these ones up here and try and get them all together at once. Now these things won't be strong enough because I don't know, they're pretty weak clips actually, but not like the old ones that were on this. They seem to be much thicker and stronger, so that hog ring kit that I bought is probably more suited to just, you know, the fabric part of the upholstery, not the wire part. Somewhat, even though it's supposed to be for fencing as well, that thing, but it's not that great. Right, so now I want to pull those up like that, so they're just going to be pinched together. It won't really support that spring, but that bar, my theory is that bar being attached to these four springs will support those two springs. Yeah, that's my theory, so hopefully this all works. Now I've got to try and figure out how to get these to pinch up together somehow. Oh, this might work. Maybe not. Oh, maybe it will. But I don't know if these clips are going to be big enough to go all the way around. Not quite, and get all three pieces, which I seriously doubt. Right, maybe a zip tie to the rescue to hold that in place again. What the hell? I've tied my hole in my glove to the thing. This might work there, fellas. Just take that off. It is pushing. Oh, is it? Don't know whether it's pushing it up or not, but what I could do is a bunch of zip ties and one of those clips, if I can. I really need some new gloves. Yeah, I reckon that's going to work as long as I can clamp this all together how I need it to be. I wonder if I could just wire it like a tie wire, metal tie wire. Welding wire will probably fatigue after a while, but I have got some number 8 fencing wire somewhere. Okay, right. Hopefully my camera's still working. I managed to knock it over earlier. Yeah, it seems to be working. Well, hopefully, but whether it lasts or not, that's a whole other story. I couldn't get like one of these clips onto where I've got 3 bits of bar, so I put it on the next one up, and then I was going to use some of this fencing wire and just do some twisty ties, but it kept snapping, so I ended up using a bit of stainless TIG rod, which didn't snap. So I'll leave all these zip ties on here as well, just for extra measure. It's going to be under the upholstery and padding and foam, and as long as nothing metal sticking up to stick up things. Yeah, as long as nobody gets injured is what I'm trying to say. Straightening up the little pin thing, managed to snap it. Man, this old steel is a little bit brittle, probably spring steel, so it probably doesn't like being hammered. And so yeah, had to kind of give that a bit of a zip back together, but yeah, kind of kept a lot of the welding to a minimum, because as I said, haven't got much gas left. But yeah, we got a trial fitted again now, so I'll fit it up and bring this back and you can have a look. Turn off. Okay, check it out. Pull it in here again. Get onto my little perch. So, she's pretty much good to go now actually. I mean, that will eventually sit down. I think we've still got a little bit of clearance issues down the back there. The other side, kind of the same. I thought it might be the case. That second bar, having a hell of a time trying to get it to bend up without everything going all springy and stretchy. But on the whole, she's not too bad. There's a couple of little overhang things down the back here. I'm just going to trim those off because they're snagging up on the back of the seat and they just stick out and they're ugly, so I'll clean those off. All my little locator things line up where they're supposed to. There's a couple of little dings and stuff in the seat base, but I thought I was going to have to reduce the height of it. When you actually sit in there, you still have a little bit of maybe enough headroom, and I'm 6'3", 6'2", 3 on a good day when I wake up in the morning. So, and to be fair, I won't be sitting in the back, so it's not really my problem. Yeah, I'm just joking. I still won't be sitting in the back. Still not my problem. So yeah, a couple more things to do. Want to try and get those things to bend up a little bit more, and there's those little things that I trim off at the back, and then a bit of wire wheeling and a bit of grinding, and maybe chuck some rust converter on all this. I know some people get their frames sandblasted and that, but I ain't gonna do that either. I'm just gonna spray some Duplicolor rust fix on all of it, probably, or most of it. I'll probably miss a lot, but just to kind of do that, and then I might just squirt a bit of black etch over the whole lot, just to kind of make them a bit nicer to work with when it comes to upholstery time. Okay, so pull these back out and trim up those bits that I want to trim up, and try and bend those bars back a little bit more, and that'll just get the base of the seat sitting a little bit more flush. Wouldn't want to sit in the middle unless you're like only about 4 kgs, because it will come down and you will hit your buttock or spine on that hump sort of thing. So it is really kind of maybe just a 2-seater arrangement, even though it's technically would be 3, but you wouldn't Wouldn't want to be a heavy person sitting in the middle. You wouldn't want to be a big person sitting in the back anyway, so there you are. Well, my drop sheet was really effective at keeping the overspray down off the garage carpet. But yeah, so we got the seat frames just out there sort of drying off a little bit out in the sun in the old bake oven, so they're just about cooked, so I'll bring them in and chuck them on in the car and let's have a look. Let's check it out. Oh, I wonder if I should put this back on. Let us know down in the comments if this should go back on or not, or whether I can just, because I'm planning on putting, you know, like an initial cover down over all the springs and stuff. I mean, it's all seen better days, you know. So anyway, distracted. Here's the seat in all its glory. I missed a few bits when I was painting it, but I was using up about 4 different aerosol rattle cans of spray and ended up finishing up using the compressor and the spray gun. But there we have it. There's a little bit of a wiggle like that, but once we get carpet in and up and over, it's actually sitting on top of this tunnel here. I never even noticed that there. It could drop down ever so slightly, but I don't think I'll bother with that. Once we get carpet and sound deadening and stuff like that going in here, that'll soak up some of these tolerances easily. Both of the little pegs fit in good. Managed to bend up those bits a bit more to clear these bits here. Gave the brackets a wee bit of a squirt and scratched them already, so that's good. What's it like to sit on? Oh, yeah. Still got a little bit of headroom for a sloucher. If you're one of those people who sits all up and down all the time, then you'd probably be like, but yeah, once there's a bit more padding and stuff on here, she should be good, I reckon. And all upholstered. Okay, compressor's finished now. Yeah, so that I reckon it'll be alright once it's all upholstered. Doesn't, well, it probably can bottom out up there, but once we get some upholstery, we might put a little bit of foam or something in there. I don't know how the upholstery works, so I have to figure all that out if I decide to do it myself. If not, I actually do know a guy now, and he, although he's not working in the upholstery game full time anymore, he may be willing to hook a brother up. I gave him some 51 parts because coincidentally he has a 51 4-door. Yeah, this was a bit of more of a shit fight than I thought it was going to be. Just
not the actual work, but in figuring it out, it was just wrestling these seat frames around and getting scratched up like nobody's business. It was like wrestling with feral cats. It was just sharp things, and it just tore my hands up. We got there in the end, and I'm pretty happy with that. I reckon it should be good. So anyway, if you're still watching at this point and you haven't subscribed, it would be real cool if you did subscribe, maybe. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that for this video, and as always, thanks for watching, and really appreciate any feedback that folks have been giving us, and suggestions and stuff. There's been a little bit of that happening, which is pretty cool. Yeah, until next time, take it easy and